First, dissect your business model, figure out who your ideal customers are, then break down their problems. Then from their problems, break down the things that they would search for if they had questions. All of that takes time and it is relevant, but that's not necessarily the stuff that you're going to rank for. The content is what you're going to rank for. So let's take one for an example. Valeur, my company, basically matches startups, like small startups that are interested in working with large corporations that have lots of money and resources, and basically we are the middleman that connect the two. One of the things that I've battled with in the past is doing a multilingual site. What you rank for, and you can do this in Search Console, what you rank for in English is not the same as what you rank for in Spanish or Swedish. The idea is your content should be unique, right, for each language or each page that it's on. Of course, it's going to be somewhat the same if it's product pages. That happens. Just make sure that you're not running everything directly through Google Translate, because it will come up as duplicate content and you will get smacked by Google. KPIs, key performance indicators. This is what every asshole boss that I ever worked for always asked me about. It's tough, you know, because people want to see results. Every boss, every manager that I've ever had, they want to get immediate results, and that's unfortunately not always how digital marketing works, especially when it comes to SEO. You know, you're talking 3 to 6 months to get a foundation to build, another 6 months to scale. That's 6 months to a year total in terms of really seeing some measurable results. It takes time. So there's a number of KPIs. So traffic, keywords, conversions is the big one. The interesting thing is that that's not the future. The future is, I want to build a website. I want to make a box, and then I want to be able to drag it and pull this one off to the side. That's the future. Location, I've had 2 experiences with this. One is that it tells me if I have some bots that are coming to my site. So if I'm getting a shitload of clicks from a .ru refer and they're all coming from Russia. Behavior is interesting, not from new and returning for me. So I think it is interesting to see how many people that came to your site once are coming back. This plays into, is my content interesting enough to continue to draw people back in because I'm writing such amazing stuff? But it does give you a perspective in terms of, am I providing meaningful enough content so that people aren't bouncing out within the first 10 seconds? We talked about this earlier. Mobile, I think, is really interesting. So again, it's 50%, so it's gone up since I looked last, but 50% is mobile. So you better believe that if my site is not mobile friendly, I have problems. There's better tools for this. If you're building an app, I would recommend Mixpanel. Mixpanel is analytics on steroids. It allows you to basically set specific user journeys. Acquisition is my favorite one. I want to know where people came from. What were you doing prior to getting on my site, right? And that's what the Google tracking pixel is all about. That's what you want to know. I think it's cool to see the difference of when content is working and when it's not. Basically, you have social as a relatively high one, direct as the second highest, organic as the third. I don't know why email's in there because we don't send out a ton of emails. Referral traffic is basically when people go from a link on another website to yours. But you really need to get more organic traffic so you're not paying for it. And then behavior. Behavior to me is super interesting because you get a chance to see where are people going when they're on your site. What is the most important page that people are visiting? Conversions is something that I have had a really tough time with clients explaining why it matters, because this is probably the most important KPI of all. It's leads, right? These are people that have taken time to go to your website and have given their personal information to say, if you're not tracking how many leads that you get in every month, how do you know if you're doing a good job? Right? How do you know that you've done better this month versus last month? It's really difficult to do that if you don't have the information. Next up is Search Console. So Search Console is one of those things that you absolutely have to register for. So you register for analytics, you also have to register for Search Console. This is where you're submitting your sitemap. Search Console is cool because it allows you to kind of set up the schema stuff that we talked about. I've set it up in an interesting way because we had a number of different issues when we first got going where it was not a secure site. It was HTTP, and now I got it over to HTTPS. If something really goes wrong, you'll get a message about it. So that's helpful. Like if shit isn't working or somebody's hacked your site and they've removed a tracking pixel, then you'll know, and Google will let you know, which is kind of cool. Ahrefs is a really interesting tool if you want to get super into SEO. It also allows you to do a lot of competitor research, but basically this tells me of all the websites that are being crawled by Ahrefs, where does my site line up? The concept is simple, is I know that I got a long way to go, and each day you could see how much you climbed in terms of getting further up in terms of ranking. And then DR. DR is kind of the overall strength of my website based on all the things that I'm doing. So it's based on good content. It's based on the number of shares I'm getting, which is crazy now that social media plays a part in organic traffic. So I think it's super interesting to see kind of how things progress, especially when it comes to me, especially when it comes to my competitors. I'll dive into referring domains. So one of my favorite things about this is I get to see kind of what are the websites that are giving me a do follow link. A do follow, there's two different types of backlinks, more than one backlink on one domain. So if somebody really loves you and they always link to your stuff anytime you come out with something, that's great. So organic keywords is really interesting because it lets me see, based on kind of their own searches, what I'm actually ranking for in terms of where I'm in the position for a keyword. What is the least amount of competitors you have for the highest amount of searches for that particular keyword. The idea is sometimes your best content is only one or two pieces and that's it. And it drives the majority of the traffic for your website, potentially for the life of your business. But the idea is if you're already working to scale these keywords, put some of these keywords that you're already ranking for inside of the meta description, so people obviously are looking for this phrase, shove it in there, right? Give people what they want. What is your best piece of content? Or what are you really good at? I want to be better at whatever your best thing is so I can outrank you. That's the concept. So the idea is if people are trying to convert on your site and they can't figure it out, you need to be aware of that. And nobody's going to email you to tell you. Super valuable, can't recommend it enough. You just need to make sure it's installed correctly, and also it does slow down your site a little bit. So if your hosting is really slow, just be aware of that, and you can run pingdom and see kind of what is the major slowdown. Marketers need to make sure that they basically show a process that is leads came in here, they entered into a CRM, and what happened after that, I need you, Mr. Salesperson or Mrs. Salesperson, to show me who converted, what happened. You want to make your existing customers love you that much more. Delight your existing customers, because as soon as they're gone, it's so much harder to get their attention back, pull them back in. So it's tough, but it's super important, and it's got to be a consideration in marketing. Content is starting to go this direction too. So I want to steal all of my competitors' best content, right? And I want to make it better. I think the most important thing is to use the negative feeling for your own good. The experiences that I got from dealing with bad bosses was realizing how much better of a boss I could be. So I'm not a dick to the people that work for me because they've been in the same situation as me. There's no point in telling somebody, I don't pay you to think because you're stupid, you know? Be that good boss. Be the person that provides value to other people. You have no idea where it's going to come from next in terms of where you get some, but give as much as you can. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.